Alright, in this video we're going to have two games. And our first game is going to be the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. But I just want to note before I start this video that I am pre-recording this, so these are all look-ahead lines that are before the week even starts, and even before the Week 12 games have been played. So just know that. So if the lines are much different from what you're seeing currently, that is definitely why, because the lines can change a lot, especially after a weekend of football. But the first game we're going to have on Thanksgiving will be the Detroit Lions at home against the Bears. The Lions currently have a look ahead line at DraftKings of negative 10.5, and the Bears currently have 10.5. Currently, they're scoring 38.5 points per game. On offense, Lions are 14.3 on defense. Really good. Bears are only averaging 11.5 the last 4 games and giving up 21.5, and that you can see why they are losing. But I shouldn't say looked, they were able to score 19 points against the Packers, who have they're around like 11th or 12th in defense currently in the last 4 games. So they did get at least 19 points, which is well above their average. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because they had fired their offense coordinator and it was a new offense coordinator. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that game plays out this weekend, which can have play a lot in how I play this game, since we don't know how they're going to play against the Vikings at home. Let's just look at what should we look at, because this game is complete domination by the Lions, probably. Well, until we see this weekend's game to see how they're playing, see any injuries. But let's just go to points per play. 4.0 on offense for Lions, which is number 1 in the league currently. In the last 4 games, the Bears are 1.3, which would be second to last in the league the last 4. And the Lions are only giving up 1.8, which is top 5 in the league. And the Bears 3, which would be around, yeah, that's a top 10 bad defense. Even though people like to say they are giving up or they have a good defense this year. But they're letting people score very easily recently, anyways. Let's just look at total expected points. 23.6 for the Lions, negative 10.1 for the Bears. That would give us a 33.7 spread, which is ridiculous. We got to remember a lot of that has to do with the Lions game against the Jaguars and just murdering them. So if we just go by point differential, which might be a better gauge for the spread, it would still be 16.6 or 16.5 with the Lions the favorite. So that should be a bet, especially because the Lions will be at home. We'll see who's got injuries and whatnot and how the Bears play on offense. Let's scroll over here to our game cards. We got basically 99.5% chance for Lions to win, negative 18 spread, and this is all our simulations of stats, offense, and defense. The only thing that's red on these cards will be the Lions currently with their turnovers, but that is obviously including the game against the Texans, where Goff had 5 interceptions. I would like this number to come down a little to play it, but the Lions are really good at home, and I might just have to play that next week. But normally I wouldn't play this game at all and just stay away from it with that kind of spread. But that's it for this game. The next game we have is the Dallas Cowboys at home against the New York Giants, which will look ahead line at DraftKings is 2.5 for the Cowboys. And I don't know if I'm surprised. Both these teams are horrible. But as I said, this is next week's games, or this technically it's this week's games because I'm going to publish this the week of the games, but the week 12 games haven't happened yet, so we don't know how the Cowboys will fare with a change of quarterback. Um, but the Giants are changing their quarterback too for week 12. So both teams are, I don't know, just trying something out and trying to see if their backups are any better than their starters. I don't even know if I want to go through this game much, but basically both teams are even at 15 points per game the last four, and both defenses have given up a lot of points, with the Cowboys a little worse with 31.3 and Giants 25.3. The passing yards for the Cowboys are definitely better with 213, and the Giants only 154 in the air, and the defense is actually only given up 164 the last four. Um, but they're only throwing for 154. A lot of their problems right now are just turning the ball over, but that's the same way for the Cowboys. And Cowboys are actually averaging a worse turnover rate than the Giants currently, but we're getting different quarterbacks here. So um, let's look at passing yards on the defense for the Cowboys, 212 or 217. But the thing we need to look at is that rushing yards per attempt. This is where the Giants struggle. They're giving up 5.3, but the Cowboys are not much better with 5.0. And the Cowboys are running worse for rushing yards per attempt, 4.3 in the last four. And the Giants are running better, 5.2. But that has to have a lot to do with Brian's way of offense with running the quarterback and such. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm almost scared just to bet on this because both teams are awful. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the backup quarterbacks play this in week 12 first before I bet this one. But let's look at points per play, 1.4 for the Cowboys on offense, 1.6 for the Giants. And then we got 3.4 for the Cowboys on defense. And Giants is 3.7, actually worse. Total expected points currently negative 16.5 for the Cowboys, negative 11.9 for the Giants. That would be a 4.6, so 4.5 spread favoring the Giants, actually. But I am, like I said, too scared to play this, and I don't really know who the quarterbacks are going to be. Um, it's really a toss-up game for me. I don't even think it helps the Cowboys because they can't win at home anyways. Let's scroll over to game cards, our simulations, last four games, which is different quarterbacks for Cowboys. So just note that doesn't mean much to me, but it says 46.5% chance of winning for the Cowboys, 53.5 for the Giants, 2 point spread, and that is negative. Yeah, so favorite is Giants that way also. Got a lot of green cards. They're just going to have less passing yards, but not much less than the Cowboys, which is like 3 yards basically in this game. Points per play is basically the same. It's off like 0.03 or something. So that's why the green card goes to the Cowboys. But it's a lot of green here, but I'd feel a lot better if Daniel Jones was actually playing because he is a really, really big threat running the ball. So we'll see if he plays this week or week 13 because we know in week 12 he is benched. So that's really all I have for this game. As I said, I definitely will probably stay away from this. until I see who plays well in week 12 and then who they decide to play as their quarterback in week 13. But I'm pretty sure they're going to just stick with their backups because both teams are definitely not making the playoffs. So we'll see which team wants to win worse because most of these players are going to start sitting out for little injuries. And because they know they're not in the playoffs and really no reason to be out there and get hurt worse. But that's all I got for these two games. If you're betting on them, good luck. My name's Jordy. You've been watching Betman Sports Betting, and I'll see you in the next video.